Hello, watching the news bulletin. I'm Bangor from and now the headlines as usual.
Scant Asia values Vietnam as an attractive destination for North European firms. Citizens on Trường Sa Islands are ready for the election day. And later on, teaching Vietnamese in Korea is a means of tightening bilateral ties.
The exports of the foreign direct investment sector accounted for more than 76% of the country's total export revenue in the first quarter of 2021, which were very high level compared to the threshold of about 60% to 70% in previous years.
These figures represent a considerable contribution of the FDI sector to the overall growth, but also show that the export growth of the national economy has become more dependent on this sector. Economic experts recommended that as an export-oriented economy, Vietnam's export activities need to reduce its dependence on the FDI sector. Accordingly, it's necessary to have a strategy to promote the development of domestic enterprises to form a new national production capacity and improve the country's position in the global value chain and its resilience to unusual impacts from the outside. At the same time, it's advisable to prioritize FDI projects which have great spillover effects and connections with the domestic sector.
Efforts to improve Vietnam's business climate have continued despite COVID-19, but progress appears to have slowed down compared to previous years and differs between fields, according to the latest report from the Vietnam Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
Although legal regulations, administrative procedures, and business investment conditions have become more transparent, the public disclosure of state plans and reports for enterprises have been noted by many as remaining too general and not overly useful. Conditions to join a number of sectors have been cut to facilitate small and medium-sized enterprises to enter the market, but policy fluctuations for sectors requiring large investments with long capital return periods have hindered companies from putting down their money. While many administrative procedures can now be done online, they still exhibit shortcomings and are not user-friendly. According to insiders, further improvements towards sustainable development require a concerted effort from both businesses and state agencies.
High economic growth and strong investment in infrastructure are among the reasons for Northern European businessmen to consider when choosing to invest in Vietnam, according to an article recently published on the site Scan Asia, which covers Nordic news and business promotion in Asia.
The article said Swedish exports to Vietnam have increased by almost 6% by 2020 despite the COVID-19 pandemic. Emil Akander, Business Sweden's acting country manager in Vietnam, was cited as saying the growing export was thanks to several factors, particularly the rapid increase of Vietnamese middle-class purchasing power. He explains that 30 million Vietnamese will belong to the country's middle class by 2025, which is almost a doubling since 2012. The officials say at the same time, Vietnam sees major investments being made in infrastructure and healthcare.
The Dinh An Economic Zone in the Mekong Delta province of Tra Vinh is one of 8 coastal key economic zones in Vietnam. With an orientation to develop a multi-sector economic zone associated with sustainable marine economic development, Dinh An has focused on investment to become an economic driving force of the province and the Delta.
This is one of the first 5 wind power projects in Tra Vinh province and built at the Dinh An Economic Zone. The project has a capacity of 48 megawatts and is expected to be put into operation in April.
We have received support from all levels, including district and commune leaders, when investing in the Dinh An Economic Zone.
Dinh An has attracted nearly 50 projects to date with total investment capital of about $6.7 million. It is expected that by 2030, it will contribute up to 80% to the provincial budget.
The Định An Economic Zone is designed as a hub for future connections with Mekong Delta provinces to export commercial goods to other countries.
Định An also has a strategic position in economic development associated with security and defense. Despite its huge potential, however, investment attraction in the zone is still lower than its potential.
To create a driving force for the economic zone to develop, estimated capital of $434 million is needed to synchronize infrastructure. This is a necessary task to address traffic bottlenecks, creating favorable conditions for investors. The focus is on calling for quality investment, such as functional areas in economic zones, industrial service urban areas, non-tariff zones, logistic zones, and deep water ports, in order to create a driving force for the development of economic zones.
Existing bottlenecks are hindering the Định An Economic Zone from becoming a driving force for economic development in Trà Vinh and the Mekong Delta as a whole.
The elections of deputies to the 15th National Assembly and members of all levels People's Councils is a major political event in Vietnam, attracting the attention of all citizens, including those in remote areas. Join us to see how the soldiers and people in the island district of Trường Sa have been preparing for the elections.
The islands in Trường Sa district are decorated with banners and posters about the upcoming election day on May 23rd. Local residents and soldiers are now able to study candidates' information and the voting rules at various public venues.
The election is an occasion for people to feel their responsibility and rights in electing those with morality and capacity to represent them in leading the country.
Despite insufficient facilities, all preparatory works on the islands are now basically completed.
I'm very happy as this is my first time voting at an election. I will look carefully at the candidates' information and cast a vote for deputies to the 15th National Assembly and members of all-level People's Councils.
I hope that the candidates elected to the National Assembly and all-level People's Councils will pay more attention to remote areas like our island, so that the country's economy will be fully developed and the gap between remote areas and other regions bridged.
As Trường Sa Island district is far from the mainland, voters will cast their votes earlier than people elsewhere. Communications campaigns have been continually broadcast on the radio so the fishermen can also stay abreast of the election matters. If they're fishing at sea on election day, they are able to cast a vote on any island within Trường Sa Island district.
We have prepared additional voters' cards and lists of candidates so that fishermen who are on offshore fishing trips can stop at our island and cast a vote. Trường Sa is home to many islands, so we send ships out to every single one to make sure all voters can cast a vote.
After seeing that all preparatory works have been basically completed, voters in Trường Sa Island district are feeling excited about electing suitable candidates who will convey their will and aspirations to legislative bodies at all levels.
Hai Van Pass in Da Nang City has been listed among the 10 most beautiful rides in the world, according to a recent article published by Travel Plus Leisure magazine.
Hai Van Pass has been dubbed one of the best coast roads in the world by Jeremy Clarkson, former host of British motoring show Top Gear. The website also recommends that those traveling along the route take the road slow as conditions can become slightly foggy. Running from a total length of 20 kilometers, the pass has become one of the most popular destinations for visitors to snap photographs, with over 52,000 photos taken at the site uploaded to Instagram. The global list is based on analysis provided by Pentagon Photo Group, which searches more than 7 million Instagram hashtags in order to uncover the world's most stunning routes.
With Vietnam, the Republic-Korea relations having been tightened over recent years, demand for studying Korean Vietnam and vice versa has increased accordingly. Join us to see how Vietnamese language classes have gained in popularity in the Republic Korea.
The Han Hook University of Foreign Studies has had a department of Vietnamese since December 1966. Students are not only taught in the Vietnamese language, but also learn about Vietnam's economy, culture, and history, among other things.
Our syllabus has two main components. The first is teaching the Vietnamese language, and the second is Vietnamese studies.
For most South Koreans, learning the Vietnamese language is quite difficult, as it has 6 different tones and multiple accents. To help them overcome such difficulties, the department has invited native-speaking lecturers with both northern and southern accents to teach. South Korean lecturers, meanwhile, only teach subjects relating to Vietnamese studies.
I have learned Vietnamese as a second language since high school, and I have to admit that it is very difficult. It has 6 tones and pronunciation is much more challenging than Korean.
Learning Vietnamese is so hard. I think that in order for South Koreans to become fluent in Vietnamese, they need to communicate with the Vietnamese people and live in the country for at least a year.
According to Professor Jung Nam Song, head of the Department of Vietnamese at the Han Hook University of Foreign Studies, learning each other's language is very important in boosting mutual understanding and thus further promoting Vietnam Republic of Korea bilateral ties.
Vietnam and the Republic of Korea established diplomatic relations in 1992. In order to tighten relations, more South Korean people should learn Vietnamese and vice versa.
The department has a high graduation rate, and the majority of students find employment upon graduation, mainly at large enterprises. The department has trained thousands of students to date.
After launching a new super tourism resort entertainment complex on Phu Quoc, the island district is striving to become a highly popular international destination, representing Vietnam's great tourism hub, according to Hong Kong-based South China Morning Post newspaper.
The publication describes the scene on the late afternoon on Phu Quoc, the country's largest island, as couples and families come together to relax on beanbags at the Middle Eastern-themed beach bar, clinking their glasses while watching the sunset far away on the horizon. It outlines that as Vietnam seeks to open up, the government has high hopes that Phu Quoc will be able to turn the country into a major player in the tourism sector, both regionally and globally. Despite not yet having the same tourism status as Thailand's Phuket or Indonesia's Bali, Phu Quoc has been overwhelmed in terms of tourist numbers in recent years, according to the article. This year, the island is aiming to attract 2 million people with an array of discount packages.
And that's wrap up our news bulletin. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.